may be time to bust down the wall. It may be time to start new traditions. You want to show everybody how good you're doing, girlfriend? Miss Lucy Goosey, look at those eyes. I know, sister. So Miss Lucy is pretty much a permanent fixture up here. But we had another join the fun. You want to go outside? Let's go. Yep. The bottles are in the trash. I was going to try to stretch it through tomorrow, Saturday, on bottle feeding the babies, but they're eating hay and eating feed and drinking water and doing so good. It's time to move on. Way to go, kids. Way to go. Miss Lucy, what you doing? I know. So if you've been following our journey the past couple of weeks, Miss Dolly Lou, she is the craziest coonhound ever on the planet. But if you've been following our journey, you know we've pretty much taken in a house chicken. What? There's nothing abnormal about having a house chicken. All right, sisters, come on. I'm just going to put it in here. These storms are coming. We've got to hurry. Okay? We've got to hurry. See there? Good girls. Yeah, keep going. Get at it. So if you've been following our journey in the past couple of weeks, you know we took in a hen that we thought was pretty much going to be a no-go situation with both eyes. Completely nursed her back to health. So after about 2-3 weeks now or so, the girl is doing awesome. The idea would be to obviously just get her healed over and back to health. She's laying eggs, beautiful, consistent eggs. And the idea would be to reintroduce her back to the coop. So I started letting her have a few days outside, and well, she would kind of beg and pout to come back in. Now, ideally, I don't want her in the house, except in a strained situation in a little tub, and then she goes back out, or she comes out to her little coop or whatever. That's a great thing. It's like today, we have really bad weather coming through, and I don't have everything fully set up, so I brought them inside for a couple of hours. We're in between storms, so now I'm letting them have a food break outside, and they're a little bit messy. Hey, welcome to the world of chickens. But also you need to know that chickens can be very mean. Mean girls, in fact. They're very competitive creatures, okay? And there's always that hen pecking order. And there's some that just fall on the low end of the totem pole, per se. But, we have to take care of them too because they're very productive. They typically give back to us tenfold what we put in for them. So now we're going to talk about Miss Anna. I would pick her up, but they have mud all over their feet and they're all on their feet, and I just watched her step in her own poop. So we're just going to let it be for right now. But here's the deal. So last Friday night, it was raining. It was doing all the things that not what it's about to do right now. Y'all be safe out there today and tomorrow. The weather is definitely moving in. But long story short, I stayed in the house that evening. I was doing some random chores. James said, I'll go close the coops. I said, I love you. You're my favorite. So he went down, checked on everything, was locking everything up, closing the coops. And before I knew it, I heard tap, 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 tap on the window. And there stands my husband with a bloody hen. Bloody hen. Well, if you're new to the world of chickens, the first thing that you need to know is that when somebody gets picked on to the point of blood, it's all downhill from there. It's just like in the movie Jaws, when they're throwing everything out, all that blood and guts and all that muck is out in the water, it attracts all of those predators. It's the same thing with chickens. So that doesn't leave you any option. If you are a decent human being and you understand this fact, the first thing that you need to do is you've got to pull that bloody hen or rooster for that matter, because they're just going to be picked on to the point of cannibalism. Have seen that several times. Don't think it can't happen to you. The best thing to do is to pull them somehow, even if it's putting them in a 50-gallon tote. That's why I tell you to have them on hand, not just for baby chicks. Always have things like puppy pads, extra old towels, Vetericin, whatever you want to call it. Definitely Blue Coat, and be ready to be in it for a couple of days, because you can't just sort of doodad and throw them back in there. Nope, they have to heal. So we brought Miss Anna in. We cleaned her up as best that we could. She already is compromised. I have several Anconas. She is an Ancona, so she's basically a Mediterranean bird. They're very similar. They are, as far as behavior, especially to your leghorns, they basically fall in that category. They lay beautiful white eggs. We love Anconas, brown leghorns. I love white leghorns, but they do tend to be more non-predator friendly. So the Anconas and the brown leghorns we like to keep on the farm. In fact, Brownie Man asked me if I actually ordered some brown leghorns, new ones for this year. Don't let that man fool you. He loves these girls. So back to my story. There stands my big man with this little tiny hen, bloody. She's already missing an eye. We have to help her in the coop every night. She got into a scuffle, and we had to make sure that she was brought in and safe for a couple of days. So now we have a situation of, I don't think we're gonna have just one house chicken. We may have two. So yes. Now we have little coop on the homestead. Something like this is very handy for me to have on the farm. We've had something small like this one way or another the whole time we've had chickens, because here's the deal. Whether we keep a chicken or two in this up here, and again, it's not very big. You can see that it's not a very big gig. It would be great for little silkies. I've already got, look there, looky there. It's been blessed already with eggs and poop. So my story here, though, is this is a great thing for backup. Whether it's for an injured hen, I wouldn't put any more. With the size of my hens right now, I probably would only put maybe 3 in here, basically to lay eggs, basically to, roost at night, and then come out during the day. That's the whole idea here. If you have silkies, it would definitely house at least 4 little silkies. Baby chicks or a broody mama with lots of baby chicks, not that we do that often around here, this is a wonderful setup. So where am I going with this? It may not be your tradition to have a house chicken. It may not make any sense, but it may make sense for us. I have coops. I like to keep my birds separate and have them do their own thing. But you know what? Maybe we need to start a new tradition. Maybe it would be good and healthy for us to have a little area up here just for these types of hens. Will this end? Maybe in a week I'll put them back? I don't know. Anna is debatable because she likes her freedom a whole lot more than Lucy. So we'll watch and see. Although I do think she's a little bit more, well, she just gets picked on, y'all. And I don't know if my heart could bear that again. But this isn't just about chickens. It isn't just about thinking about what you need to do with injured birds or broody mamas or baby chicks and all of the above. It's about being willing to understand that you are here not just to carry traditions that your grandmothers did or had, making biscuits and having chickens and doing all of these things and teaching them to your children. It's also about starting new traditions. Let me tell you where I'm going here. So here's my story. A couple of weeks ago, it's actually been about 2 months ago, I got a comment from a wonderful lady, and it was a very long, detailed explanation of how she had lost her tradition in her family, and she felt like she was to blame. That basically, to give a short version, she had heirloom seeds from her grandmother. And due to circumstances over several years, she didn't plant a garden. She didn't keep the tradition going. She just held on to the seeds and whatnot. Well, finally she got around to planting them, and they didn't germinate. They didn't do anything. And she lost the entire tradition of a long time, over many generations of seeds that had been passed down through the family to her. And I don't want to go into too many details in case she's watching, but that was probably the most heartfelt, sentimental, heartbreaking comment and story that I've ever heard from anybody on my channel, through email, wherever. I could literally feel her sorrow because she longed to connect with her ancestors. She longed to carry the tradition. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, I can relate in the idea that she was beating herself up. She was giving herself a hard time because she felt like she had failed. I've been there this year. This seems kind of silly in a way, but let me tell you what happened to me. So in 2007, I was given a cutting of my great-grandmother's African violets. This woman was magical in terms of cooking and baking, and she loved to garden, especially flowers and houseplants. She truly had a green thumb. So when I look back over the years in terms of my childhood and being down at her house a lot, every week, every day, every summer, after school, I was surrounded by houseplants and rose bushes and beautiful iris gardens, all of these things. And they have beautiful memories all wrapped up into one place right there for me. And one thing that she loved to grow was African violets. So in 2007, I was gifted one of her cuttings from her African violets. And I put it in a little pot, and I was so proud of it, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and it bloomed and it bloomed and it bloomed. And it was in the window of my kitchen. It followed me to the last home to be in the window of my kitchen. You know what? All these years later, it followed me here to be in the window of my kitchen. I don't know what I did wrong. I should have made cuttings earlier. I transplanted it into a new pot. I tried my best with it. And, well, it was time for it to say goodbye. And it did. With all of my efforts last year, it was time for a new tradition. But as silly as this sounds, when I finally made the decision that there was nothing else I could further do to do anything to revive it, anything to get just a cutting, I even asked for help on my Facebook group and with friends, and I did everything I was told to do, and my efforts failed. And I will honestly have to tell you, I cried over that little African violet. As silly as that is, I just had a moment because I thought, here I am, and I failed. And so when I got this letter or this writing from this sweet gal, I knew what she was talking about. But let me tell you how I remedied it. So after we moved to the home and after that happened, I could not find a new African violet anywhere. It was impossible. A lot of places were closed. So I had to delay finding one, and finally one day I did, and it was probably, guys, I'm not going to, it was probably a fourth of the size that you're seeing right here. So I did more research, said a little prayer, and I thought, I'm not going to give up. That's not what my grandmother would want me to do. She would want me to start again, start my own tradition with my own African violet, and she would be so proud. But let me tell you what I do think has helped is doing my research. And by the way, any tips that you have on raising African violets, I will gladly take them because I really want it to thrive. But here's what I've done so far. So I got online and I did some research, and like so many other plants, just like, your tomatoes with your water picks or your peppers with your water picks, they kind of like to pick and choose what they want to do. They're a little bit sassy. So I have one of these wicks inside of the actual planter that goes down into the water bucket, in which, I check it once a week, put a little water in it, and I put a little fertilizer in it every now and then. I just did that this week, and it is working splendidly. You know what? I'm telling you right now, I am going to be overjoyed, and I'll show you when I get my first little bloom, because I know Granny Mac is smiling. So this is what I'm saying. Your grandmothers did their thing and passed it on and on. You learned from that, you grew from that, and you are who you are from that. But now it's time for you to do your thing, to be who you are for yourself and your family and your kids and your grandbabies. And they can carry forth from you by what you've learned and what you do. That's what I learned, and I hope you learn that too. And when you realize one day that you are carrying the same responsibilities that they did, those are pretty big shoes to fill, but it's a good thing. All right, girls, I hear thunder in the distance. I think playtime's over. Guys, we appreciate you watching. Hope you're safe out there. We have a lot of weather coming through here just a little bit. So we're home and hunkered down and keeping an eye on the sky. And guys, we appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next video. Girlfriends, it is thundering. I had to bring you in. My goodness, did you have a good field trip? All right, we're gonna hunker down for the night. Y'all stay safe out there.